Joined by Obama veteran Che Komanduri and Ted Cruz veteran Amanda Carpenter, currently a writer for Protect Democracy. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Good to be here. All right.
Good to have you. I showed some classic older moments in politics, Amanda. I think it's fair to say if I had the two of you on in previous election cycles, if we went back farther, you two would be much farther apart on who to vote for. And so let's start there with what you see in this Republican enthusiasm for Kamala Harris. Amanda.
Yeah, well, I think that Republicans, what's different than the last cycle is that they have been made to see how far Trump tribalism will take the party. And that became evident on January 6th. And that requires doing more than just kind of quietly going along and complaining to your friends about Trump's bad tweets or even writing in Ronald Reagan on your election ballot. It requires, doing the only thing that can stop Trump from being reelected. And that is why you see them coming out in this fashion.
Yeah. You have experience. You know Ted Cruz better than most people in America. And if I'm permitted a Friday joke, better than, well, you work for him, right?
Yeah, I'm just going to say...
If I'm permitted a Friday joke, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, since Trump came on the scene, I have very drastically changed the trajectory of my career, and I don't keep a lot of ties in that camp for reasons that those calls may not be returned given my current positions.
Sure. And that, again, speaks to exactly the evolution we're talking about and what he was. I mean, even in Trump's first general election campaign, Ted Cruz was saying, vote your conscience. He certainly doesn't sound like that now. My joke was going to be that but you've spent time with him, more time than many Americans would want to spend with Ted Cruz, I think it's fair to say, from the polling. So I want to show people who've also, as you've evolved or as the country has moved around you and the parties moved, some more from the question I posed some of those folks, because like you, they've been in it. And some of them have said, wait, they're going to use their platforms or their following to change. Here's some more from that interview we did this week. You've worked for Donald Trump. Did it help or hurt your life?
I couldn't be more proud of serving this country.
It really was a net benefit.
It's an honor to get to work at the White House, and for any president, Donald Trump might have been the more difficult president.
If Trump loses, it will be because
he's been too divisive.
People are sick and tired of the chaos.
He hasn't prosecuted his case against Kamala Harris.
I'm curious, Amanda, your thoughts in general and specifically on Ms. Matthews, who made such a thoughtful case for Harris, and Sondland, who would have agreed with you that Jan 6 was wrong until he took it all back.
Yeah, that was a fascinating panel, and I just really want to acknowledge Sarah Matthews' participation in that. I think it's tough to have those personal conversations with people that you worked with in your life. It's really hard to do it on live television, much less with, men that probably ranked higher in that circle. But what was most interesting about that conversation, I thought, was the discussion about whether democracy is a policy issue, because I think it mimics what a lot of Republicans who continue to go along with Trump tell themselves. They say that, OK, I'm going to keep supporting Trump because I care about immigration, the economy, whatever it is. But democracy is a policy issue. I mean, if you don't have a strong democracy where your votes can be canceled in an election, you don't have a voice. When a mob is scaling the walls of a Capitol, there is not going to be any debates about your precious tax rates. When there's judges and election officials and members of Congress afraid to take votes because of what that mob might do to them, the death threats they're getting, you are not going to have fair policy outcomes. And so I would really like to see that fleshed out a little bit more, because you can't just chuck democracy to the side. And more so, I think those people think that January 6th is over, is somehow a past issue for the Republican Party, and that is not true. The big lies are alive and well, as evidence from the debate stage, as evidence by, these lawsuits that are being filed all across the country based on continued misinformation and hopes that they can be resurrected after the election to disrupt certification procedures. All of this is still happening. And that is why what is required is to put an end to the madness in hopes of ever resurrecting or saving the Republican Party later.
I hope people are listening to you and appreciate everything you just said. Che?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with Amanda that this is not just about, liberal or conservative policies, Democratic or Republican policies. This is about the Constitution. This is not on the traditional spectrum that we understand American politics as being. And as a Democrat, watching Liz Cheney endorse Kamala Harris was like watching Terminator 2. Where the Terminator Arnold shows up and you're like, oh, he's a good guy now. It took me for takes you for quite a loop to think about it that way. But that speaks to the larger cause that is at stake here, where there we have it. where
yeah, okay, we have
this broad.
All right.
Yeah, you have this broad coalition designed to protect democracy. It also goes to a very important strategy on the part of the Harris campaign. Look, you can appeal to voters with their heads or their hearts. In trying to appeal to white working class voters in the Midwest, we're appealing to them with their hearts by bringing out Liz Cheney. We're saying, I, Harris, share your values. I share a love of the Constitution. I share a love of the country. That great patriotic spirit we saw at the Summer Olympics, I am a part of that. Donald Trump is not. Donald Trump is about a country of one in Mar-a-Lago.